Our next speaker of today is Kaylee, and the title of her speech is Ocean Racers.
Imagine yourself as a skipper sailing on the Atlantic Ocean with about 9 or 12 other crew members that'll be under your command for the next 9 months as you're prepared to participate in one of the most physically challenging races on this planet. This race is known as the Volvo Ocean Race. Now, in my audience analysis, I found that a majority of you were interested in hearing a speech about the Volvo Ocean Race, but a majority of you also weren't aware as to what the Volvo Ocean Race was. So to prepare for my speech, I interviewed David Kilmore, a professional sailing racer here in Coeur d'Alene, and I also researched into the Maritime Professional Training Organization. And I've been fascinated with sailing since I was about 14 years old. Now, one thing I hope that you'll be able to take away from my speech is that ocean racers will utilize communication and years of ocean racing experience to help them overcome the challenges in the Volvo Ocean Race. So today, I will be covering the skill requirements of a skipper, the importance of communication in the Volvo Ocean Race and in any sailboat in general, and also what it's like to be a skipper in the Volvo Ocean Race. So first, let's begin with the skill requirements. You have to accumulate, before anything, 360 boating day experiences. But once you've achieved that, you will then go on to try and get your U.S. Coastal Guard captain's license. They'll be teaching you many things in this license, but just to name a few, it'll be navigation, collision avoidance, meteorology, and most importantly, the man overboard recovery maneuver. Another certification that is legally required is your first aid certificate. But now that I've talked a little bit about the skill requirements, I'd like to now talk about what kind of importance is communication in the sailing world. Now, there are classes dedicating to helping skippers and their crew members better be able to communicate with each other, to be able to sail and be a well-oiled machine. But that's not the only importance for communication. It's also a matter of safety. If I was to ask every single member in this room, what do you think could go wrong with a sailboat out in the ocean? You'd probably think pirates, or storms, or sharks, which is the first thing I think of because I hate sharks. And none of those things would be wrong. But I was surprised when I interviewed David Kilmore and I said, what are some of the mishaps that have happened on a sailboat due to miscommunication? And he actually said, some of my closest calls have been due to miscommunication. He went on to tell me a story about when he had a guy backing up a boat to a concrete dock, and he was letting a line into water, and he tells the guy to slow down, and the guy actually speeds up. Someone on the dock, thank goodness, saw the situation happening, called out to David. When David looks up, he sees this concrete dock coming towards the middle of his body. Right then, it was so close, he was actually able to jump up onto the dock. Boat slams into the dock, it shakes, and splinters go everywhere. If he hadn't been able to think so quickly on his feet, it would have essentially ended an open chest wound. So with that being said, now that I've discussed a little bit about the skill requirements and the importance of communication, I'd now like to talk about what it's like to be a skipper in the Volvo Ocean Race. Now, it's not for the faint of heart. It's not like other races where you're going to be pushing yourself for 24 hours or 48 hours. It's a 9-month race. It is over 38,000 nautical miles. They set up the race to where you go around the world, but they purposely have them go the wrong way, or should I say the harsher way, so that way they're always going upwind, which means bigger waves. There's actually footage of crew members working on their designated equipment on the boat, and they are tied to the boat, thank goodness. But they will actually have suddenly a wave come crashing down on them. Can't see nothing until eventually the waves clear out, and all of a sudden you see the boat has tipped up just enough to where all the crew members are like dangling from their equipment. So you might ask yourself, now wait a second, Kaylee, why would anyone have any interest in this particular kind of competition? Aside from less than insanity, which is true. I asked David Kilmore, and he says there are strong parallels between long-distance ocean racing and mountaineering, I should say. And as they asked George Mallory why he wanted to climb Mount Everest, he said in a summarized statement, because it's there. And that's the best explanation I can give you guys right here, right now. It's for ocean racers. The Volvo Ocean Race is there. So now that honestly, just as every sailor eventually has to dock their boat, I too must end my speech. I hope after everything that I've talked about, it kind of sets in just a little bit more when I say ocean racers utilize communication and years of ocean racing experience to help them overcome the challenges in the Volvo Ocean Race. Today, I have covered the skill requirements of a skipper, the importance of communication on a sailboat, and also what it's like to be a skipper in the Volvo Ocean Race. I'd like to end this speech with one of the most favorite quotes from the father of our Navy, John Paul Jones, in which he says, "I wish to have no connection with any ship that does not sail fast, for I intend to go in harm's way." Thank you very much.
Nailed it.